Coming up in this month's Recently Played podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but I've just realised that you would be staring through BD's ass to use them as binoculars.
We done shit.
Does BD shit?
Let's fill in the silence, fill in the silence, fill in the silence. Oh, that's a good song.
Have to say
Fill
it,
in the silence,
oh,
fill in the silence.
fill in the silence. BD, what dad ass do though?
Well,
Can BD throw it back? It's a Star Wars thing that people have wanted for years. It was actually my main complaint with the first game.
that
I can't look through the droid's ass. Just wanted to clear the air. Wanted to make it clear that you fucking suck, and I do not.
Hello and welcome to the Recently Played podcast. Here with Joe, Aidan, Denver, and me, Will.
So,
does anyone want to go first? Aidan,
Yes.
you go first. Oh.
no.
That was instant. The timing was not very good there. I went to say it and you'd already started. Fuck.
Who wants to go first? Aidan, go first!
I think it's because
no time at all to answer that.
None of us say anything. So Will's obviously preempted it. And
Literally.
I'm just going to say Aidan, but I've equally gone, I'll just say me because I know no one says
Oh no,
anything.
like, I'll do it. No, Aidan.
Although I'm not sure if I went first last time.
You did go first last time,
No,
yes.
Denver went first last time.
Yeah,
Joe, it's
so-
you.
So Aidan.
Oh, fine.
No, not
Okay.
me. Joe.
I'll go.
Okay.
I'm going to go. I'm not going
Because I feel like you're going to say the one that we've all been playing. So I feel like I want you to be the one that covers it.
There's that. Before we get onto that,
The one we've all been
Yeah,
playing.
because no
I will-
spoilers, please. Just remember.
Oh, okay.
That's
We
fine.
haven't all been playing.
okay. So, me and my partner
Oh.
went on to our next game.
So what was your last game?
The last game was Dead Space.
It was Dead Space.
Dead Space.
Which you said was
which
great.
She loved it. I thought it was amazing. One of the best games I've played in a while. Thought we'd change it up this time. It's our first non-horror game.
Oh,
Pew, pew.
Oh, I would say Bioshock was horror.
it is.
It's
It's a bit.
semi-horror, isn't it? Semi-horror. It's not really a jump scary one.
There is a few. But anyway,
Yeah.
the next game we decided to play, we decided to go for a little indie game. A little happy indie game. And that was Kena Bridge of Spirits.
Damn. Does it count as an indie game?
Well, it's made by an indie game company, so I guess so. It's definitely not a AAA game.
The only reason I say is because it looks like
It's very well made.
It looks like
But games can look good now because I don't know if it is on Unreal Engine, but Unreal Engine
I don't
just
know.
makes games defaultly look good.
Yeah,
And it's so easy for indie developers to use Unreal Engine now.
but it does look amazing. It's one of the
It might
One
not
of
be
the-
on Unreal Engine.
pleasantly nice looking games I've played in a long while. And I say I didn't really play it because Holly played the entire thing this time.
nice.
To the point where I didn't see a lot of it because she just wanted to play it. Because a lot of the horror games, she goes, right, Joe, your turn now. I don't want to do the next section type of thing. It's fucking hard and I'm stressed.
Yeah.
But this one, she just enjoyed it, and it was nice to see her go, actually, this is just pleasant. The game story is a bit weird. It's very Studio Ghibli-esque story in terms of the idea of spirits and the Japanese idea of what spirits are like type of thing. In a fantasy world. But the premise of the game really consists of collecting these little beans that are alive. And they're literally, if you can imagine the Ribena berry beans,
Yeah.
these Ribena baby things are cute as fuck. And the game literally consists of just collecting as many as you fucking can and buying hats for them.
Oh,
As
Don't
you
you
go through the game,
attack things? There's combat and shit.
there is combat, and it's very like God of War inspired combat. Obviously, like nowhere near as good. Like it's the best you would expect from an indie game, like a top level indie game type.
But does that take a
really
backseat to the child trafficking in the game?
The side story of the child trafficking is a bit disturbing.
Andrew Tate and Tristan Tate.
I think politically it's very brushed over, and I think
politically in a game where you collect the beans.
There is no child trafficking in the game, but
don't you use?
Run.
Go on.
Don't
It does run on the Unreal Engine.
Oh, it does. There you go. That's why. Explains why it looks so good.
Don't you use the beans for combat?
You do. They do attack things.
Combat beans.
They are combat beans, and I think in the end she ended up with like 70 of them. Like
Jesus
70
Christ!
combat beans.
And they just follow you around, and
That's so much damage.
They've got the little hats on that you put on them, for example, little cowboy hats or little mushroom hats, anything like that. Lots of hat customization, and I feel like that is not the main point of the game, but it is definitely what made it. They were like, "Oh yeah, we're going to make this really intricate, intricate. What am I trying to say? What am I trying to say, guys? Intricate combat system with really interesting story and really vibrant colors, but putting hats on these little beans fucking made the game great. And I definitely need to play it through myself to really live the experience. So I can't talk about it too much, but it's a cute game.
The beans are cute.
The beans are cute, you see? And I'd honestly recommend it to anyone.
What did she rate it?
9 out of 10.
The same as Dead Space.
Nope, Dead Space was like an 8.
Run it back.
Hold on.
Run the list back, Joe.
I've got the list on my phone, but I dropped my phone earlier. So, let's have a look. Fill in the silence. Oh, that's a good song. Fill in the silence.
What the fuck just happened?
I was on that level. I knew it. I knew what you were going for. I felt it.
What just happened?
It was a 9 out of 10. She rated it exactly the same as Dead Space Remake.
What about all the others? All the others, Joe. Though
Outlast 2 was 7.5.
Fill in the silence.
Bioshock was an 8 out of 10.
So Dead Space and Kenna Bridges
are on the same level. I said, do you like it as much as The Last of Us? What?
Isn't it? It says still better than Wet Leg. True.
Oh my god, that's so true.
True. Accurate moment.
So true. So yeah, really, she's gone back and she's on a second playthrough already. So
does it have like a reason to play a second time, or is that just
there is a new game plus?
Right.
But she didn't like the new game plus because you already have all the beans on your second playthrough. So she was like, it ruined the thing of going around and collecting them all type of thing. So she liked going and getting all the beans.
Oh yeah, I've just seen a clip of many beans following you.
Yeah, there's so many beans. But the main event, which is a game that 3 out of 4 of us played or playing.
You know, that's enough to say all.
And that's Star Wars Survivor. Now,
who's beaten it?
Me and Aidan have beaten it. And Will is currently playing through it. So no spoilers here, and I feel like it's still
I think Will's like 9% of the way through it, isn't he?
I feel like it's still fresh to talk about spoilers anyway. But the basic rundown is great game, shit story.
The story shit.
The more I think about the story, the more I thought it was just... It's not shit, it's just very meh.
See, I've been annoyed. I've seen from the game, without ever searching for it, and it's just come up on like feeds, I've seen clips when they're like, whoa, can't believe this character's in it, and it's like... And then that's annoying from my perspective, but then I'm like, I'm not in that... Don't know how bothered I am about the game.
Survivor is definitely better than Fallen Order.
I think the story's worse, I think.
See,
as a
I didn't rate
game-
the story for the first one. So
But
I thought it
but
was
it
just
was
a nice.
neat.
But it was
Yeah,
just a
it
nice
was-
little contained Star Wars story.
It was.
And that was
Whereas I think
nice.
Survivor's a bit more like they're like, what else can we do that could maybe still sort of be considered canon, while still
without
while not
fucking-
affecting anything else. Sort of thing.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
the trouble with these like Star Wars either films, shows. It's like they can't be that big and impactful because
Because
it
people will be
fucks
wondering,
them
well,
over.
why isn't Cal just flying to the Death Star and fucking him up? You know
Yeah,
what I
like,
mean?
Yeah.
That's why, like, film wise, like with all the shows, that's why I think Rogue One is still the best
Yeah.
Star Wars film they did.
Oh, it
Because
really is.
like it works perfectly in conjunction with the original films.
Well, this is a movie review, lad.
Sorry, I know. I'm just saying, like, in terms of like that film was so good because it still impacted the main thing. Whereas a lot of these like extra shows and games and stuff, it's kind of like we have to make it on its own because we can't impact what other stuff does.
I agree with Joe up until a point. I think it is good for about like 80% of the game, and you're like, wait, like why? From a certain point, you're like, wait, why?
Yeah, why? Yeah, and I think
What,
also
story
the
wise,
issue-
like something
Story-wise,
happens.
I think
you're
I
like,
think
wait, why?
I think also the issue is about like what you said. Why is Cal not just going in the fucking Death Star and killing people? They made him
Stop thinking about it so much.
They
Look at his
made-
brain turning and stop.
They made
Just-
him. They've made him so fucking powerful in this game. Like Fallen Order was so like a Souls-like game. You know, where everything was really slow. In this game, Cal is OP, and it's the fact that have they made him. Don't get me wrong, the combat feels amazing, and it's sick to feel like a powerful Jedi. But it's to the point where you're like, why isn't he doing more? Like he's fucking everyone up, and why isn't he doing more? Who knows? But I guess the story
they have
has
just
its
done,
own
like-
reasoning. But go on.
I was gonna say, should they have just done like a whole? This is in a parallel world Star Wars. It's not the Star Wars you know, like a bit like because is it Star Killer from the old Force Awakens? That's not canon, is it?
No, it's not. That was.
But they were like fucking badass.
Yeah, literally. But yeah, I mean, so in my opinion, the story wasn't as good as Survivor, but I still really liked it. I think the villains are the most forgettable villains I've ever seen.
Gameplay though.
But gameplay, really fucking good. Level design, fucking top notch.
Kevin, suck my ass.
Does
I
it
love-
have a better map this time? Because the old
Oh,
map was fucking
100%.
AIDS.
Well, it's a bit better. Not like it's
I would
not like
agree it's
100%. It's not like 100%. Oh, this is 100% better. But the addition of fast travel really helps.
Does it have a Dead Space tracker-like thing?
It does not have a Dead Space
It
track.
does on
shit,
the.
then.
It does not to tell you where to go, but it does say on the map. It like shows you how you've got to bits, type of thing. Like it draws like a little line, which isn't very helpful.
I also thought it was a bit weird right at the beginning of the game. They give you like the binocular system, and they're like,
But
"Look, you
you
can
never
tag
have to
things
use
far
it.
away." Like
You never have to
you're never
use that,
far enough away from anything that you have to tag it.
or use your
Like
binoculars.
just ever.
No.
It's
Um,
more
It's
of a
not
gimmick,
like, oh,
isn't
you can
it?
sneak into a base or
Oh yeah,
like
it's definitely a gimmick. Like you can scan stuff from far away if you want to. It's one of the achievements, but it's just not. It's fucking stupid.
Well, I think,
know what it is. I can clearly see through my binoculars that massive Triceratops is running towards me. All right, BD, time to. Oh fuck, I'm dead.
And I think they did. I think that they did a bad thing where they made this Kobo planet the main planet, a bit like Zepho was in the first game, and it felt like the first game had its planets. Zepho was obviously the biggest one and the main one, but the other
Hang
ones
on,
felt
Joe,
very.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but I've just realised that you would be staring through BD's ass to use them as binoculars.
We done shit.
Does BD shit?
Does BT shit? What would he?
BD, what dad ass do though?
well,
Really
I imagine
cliche, like
BD's a
nuts and
robot,
bolts.
right? So
Can
his only
BD
exhaust,
throw it back?
his only exhaust would be heat. So it would be like his heat vents would kind of be his shit.
Condensed air. Can you?
Sorry, Jen. I didn't mean to. It was just like we said it. You carried on, and my brain was like, "No, you're staring through his ass. You are staring through his ass to scan things."
Oh, what? In the game you use him as binoculars?
Yeah, you literally.
Yeah,
Oh.
he is the binoculars.
Right. So when you say you get binoculars, you mean BD
They.
is the
Here's
binoculars.
the binocular.
That's what I was saying.
They
I
are
just
the
thought you were
binoculars.
like theorizing, like, wouldn't it be cool if BD was the binoculars?
Wouldn't it be so
Never.
sick I could look through BD's ass. No, you can't.
Anyway,
it's a Star Wars thing that people have wanted for years. It was actually my main complaint with the first game.
that
I can't look through the droid's ass.
I am.
You're not actually looking for its ass, though. You're looking for the back of its head.
Its ass.
Is the back of his head just his ass?
It's the fattest part
place
of it.
to have an
So
ass.
therefore, if that ass do quit, do it be spitting.
So as I was saying,
Yeah.
So in the first game, you had Zepho, which is obviously the main planet, but all the other planets felt very thought about as well. And I think the issue was this game is they obviously had the one main planet, and most of the other planets were an afterthought. And I guess there's another one that you could be classed as a main planet as well, but that Kobo one is just that big, and I felt like they could just change it up a little bit more. But what is good about it, it felt like endless exploration all the time. It felt like to explore was great in this game. Like whereas the first game, like you had a bit of exploring aspects, but like nothing crazy. Had that like maybe one extra section where you could go in the ship. But this had fucking endless exploration, and it was really great. A lot of backtracking though, which I don't like. But really good. I thought it was a great game. I would rate it a 7.5 out of 10, personally.
I wouldn't say 7.5 out of 10 was great.
I mean, that's what classes as a 30, really.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're doing it in
different.
album review logic.
Yeah.
Not game. Like, because if a game gets a 5 out of 10 rating, it's like fucking dog shit.
I think even then, I would still stick with a 7.5 or an 8. Like, to be honest, but like I would still be leaning towards a 7.5. I think gameplay wise, it's improved so much, but like it's still not different enough that you can warrant being like it's the best game ever.
Yeah.
Like they've changed enough to make it feel fresh, but it's still
like
a Star Wars game.
You would never say it's not worth a playthrough type.
No, it's worth a
Like,
playthrough.
it's like really good, but it's just again, it's one of those games. It's good, but it's nothing like blow your mind off unless you're like a crazy Star Wars fan.
And even if you are, like
I could look through BD's ass right now.
Bro,
look for his ass.
I don't dare, he'll break.
Him. Yeah, he's very like for all the money that was worth, it's a fragile looking Lego piece.
It actually isn't very fragile. It's quite solid, but
oh yeah, punch it right now.
I'm not willing to do that.
Just stand up and punch it.
Would you like a closer look? You keep talking. Or don't. Just sit there awkwardly.
Just fill in the silence.
Fill in the silence. Fill in the silence. Fill in the silence. Why did I just sound like I didn't sound
Fill in the silence.
That move was fucking crazy.
Oh, it kind of lines up quite well with the eyes, doesn't it?
With the ass. No.
With the ass to the eyes. Fill in the silence.
Sorry, I couldn't get over that dance move. I really want to see you pull that out at some point.
I'll do that again at some point. Wow, look at that.
Let's go, cute.
I mean, it doesn't quite look like mine. Where's its visor?
Doesn't quite.
That's a
have
reference for all my visor homies out there.
Well, it is quite cool that it does have a little stim thing.
Oh, it's got the stim.
That's
thing.
sick.
The stim
That is
tray.
actually awesome.
Oh, and it's just as many stims as I needed the first time I played the first game.
Obviously, now you can kind of edit him in the game, can't you? But
yeah. Well, you can edit him now, Will, if you just like rip his head off.
I'm not, again, willing to do that.
It'd actually make for great content if he accidentally dropped it.
Remove the legs.
Hey.
My son.
Oh, he ain't got the nerves to do it.
Look at that. Wow.
What's he panicking about?
I don't know. Like
Is
he
he
don't
trying-
want to
is
put
he
it on the
trying to-
windowsill.
Trying to keep
Well,
it
just go
on
put it
the
back
frame.
in the thing. Like you don't have to leave it there. What if you like spin onto it or something? Like that.
Oh,
Is Cal
Ginger.
the
yes.
greatest self-taught Jedi ever?
He's not self-taught.
Jaro Tapal taught him.
Jared Tapal
Nice.
and then Seer taught him.
See who?
See ya.
Seer sucked my ass.
That's her name.
Yeah, but like,
There.
I have a feeling that's what Wilson was
he has
talking
the-
about.
It has a thing like, obviously, as a Padawan, But then when he's like older and he actually like develops the skills in the game, for example, he just kind of magically gets them from.
Well, I mean, if you sit down in a circle, eventually you do learn the ability to drag people down.
He is a lot more. He is a lot more brutal than like his combat is a lot more brutal than a normal Jedi would.
Well, this is what I mean because it's almost or is in the second game. You later.
Why?
I thought
is it
so.
because she looks incredibly surprised every time that you walk into a room? Like she's like. Cal, thank God you're here. My problems are worse than yours.
I've not played the second game. So is this part of the second game that there's been a whole process where you've been training with her? Because there's not really any training with her in the first game.
No, it just says that it says in the thing that Sia had been teaching you.
Oh, like when you beat the game kind of thing.
Yeah, like when you're in the game, there's a thing about I trained with her and then.
And the thing is, there's also that whole thing of like every time you learn a new ability, they do a flashback to Sia talking about her problems again, and somehow helps Cal.
So rather than switching back
like,
to
you need to find
Paul
the
or whatever his name was, you jump back to Sia.
What?
Yeah,
I mean,
that is literally that.
Right,
yes.
okay, yeah, but without like the teaching you how to do it bit. It's just like a cutscene.
It's literally
just a cutscene. Okay,
I've seen one so far.
Do it. Which one was that one? Just out of curiosity.
Whatever the first one is, I haven't seen her in the game yet, other than the cutscene thing.
Are you like really early on then?
I've done there's like an opening intro, and then on a planet, and then you move planets to Kobo, which is the one Joe was talking about, and then I did the stuff in that, and did like loads of the side stuff in that, and then I've just gone to Jeddah.
I think the issue is that
F1 track.
The start of the game, you can spend so much time exploring Kobo that you just won't move on in the story for a long time because you can just explore for fucking ages.
Yeah.
So but a lot of the time in the game by now.
No, well, you probably would.
If you beeline it, then yeah.
It is probably a bit of a waste in terms of like a lot of the time you can't go where you're trying to go.
Yeah.
Like just in terms of everything. Wilson is right though. She does have more hair than relevance in the game.
Can you still real steal it?
Yes, you actually get you get the ability really early on. BD can slice those giant punchy droids.
Oh yeah.
And me and Denver, the first time he ever played it, I was watching him, and he did that to a droid. He was on low health, couldn't do anything, and these two droids were just beating the shit out of each other in a room, like just swinging. And
just I was like, really slowly, just like bang.
Was that on Ilum?
It was.
It was on Ilum.
The ice planet. It's the ice planet. When you've done it, you get to the end, and then it says.
I can't remember. It was
there's a room full of those droids.
No, it's the water bit where you go down just before you fight the first sister for the first time, where she like pushes you behind a barrier and then it shuts. BD saves you. You know the one.
Yeah, that's
basically I played the whole thing with very low stims, and I was like, out of all stims, because it's like a part where like quite a few waves of enemies come at you, and there's just these two droids, and I had enough like. What was like the ability stuff called? I had enough to like hack into one of them with BD, but not the other. So I just had to watch these two droids just brawl out until my droid won.
God, it was good. I missed that movie. Movie review now.
It's a good movie.
Hugh Jackman in Real Steel.
I've never watched it.
It's classed as a sports movie.
Well, it is boxing, sort of.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyway. That's my recently played, so you guys go at it.
Are we allowed to talk about a certain character that took a while to beat? They're not a character, really.
What, Spawn of Bogdo?
Well, they just said it now.
Well, I don't feel like it is a spoiler. Like, it's just a big frog.
Yeah, but
isn't he in the trailers?
No. No, I was pleasantly surprised and then immediately violently angry when I found him.
He's quite early in the game then, if Will's...
He's early. Like, you don't have to find him early. But, like, I'm an explory boy. Will's an explory boy. Joe pretends he is, but just looks at the map every 2 seconds. Right. Watching Joe play that game is fucking infuriating. Because he takes about 4 steps forward and he's like, wait, might have missed something. Bloop, map. Like, instantly, he looks at the map and he's like, hang on, there's something down there. And he just, like, walks off. And it's like, that's fine. I'm all for exploring. But it's like, he can't move anywhere without doing it. He can't look at a location and go there. He gets about a quarter of the way, map. A bit further, map. A little bit further than that, map. Mid-encounter, map. At his nan's funeral, map. Like everything, it's like instant. He can't stop himself.
Right, it is AIDS, but I kind of understand it because you feel like you walk past and then you realize, like the amount of times, even just on that, I would like try not go on the map and just go there, and it turns out I'll fucking walk past it, and I'm like, fuck's sake, I'll go on the map again.
You could walk a minute. You could walk a minute in that
journey.
game and miss about 10 things.
Literally.
So I started getting really paranoid, so I just started going on the map and make sure I didn't miss anything.
It is great. If you were like streaming it to an audience, if you were streaming the game, like fuck me, it would be so funny to see how angry people would get because like it's more map than gameplay. It really is.
It really was. It's me just sitting on the map going, I've been there.
Hang on, mate, looking around, like zooming. Have you seen the Force tear with him in it? Yes, we have.
I mean, the two of them.
Yeah.
Arguably a lot easier than the original, honestly.
It's kind of weird how much easier it is.
Watching Will do that was great. We should have streamed it.
Doing what, sorry?
So there's a force tear in the game. So once you beat Spawn of Ogdo, the tear opens up, and these are like little challenges that you can do. Like some of them are combat, a couple of them are like parkour and stuff.
Right.
And they're deliberately a little bit more difficult than everything else, so you earn something through doing it. And after beating Spawn of Ogdo, it opens a tear where you fight Ogdo Bogdo and Spawn of Ogdo at the same time. You'd think that double would be harder, but a lot of the time they just get in each other's way.
Yeah,
So,
it's easier.
The fight's just easier.
Yeah, I was cheesing it by literally one that was trying to attack me being stuck behind the other one. So then the one that isn't attacking you just stands there. So I would just fucking slash the shit out of it while it was proper cheesy.
The look of sheer distraught I had when I opened that tear, and I was like, it took me like an hour and a half to fucking do just Ogdo Spawn, and then I open that tear and I see two. And the thing is though, it confused me because I was expecting Ogdo Bogdo to have the Ogdo Bogdo moveset from Fallen Order. No, he just has the like 10 times harder moveset that fucking Ogdo Spawn had. So I came in there expecting just to be able to do that one parry you could do.
He comes back with a vengeance.
But he does.
Really does. Like, yeah, truly. There's never been a more like I'd say it's on the level of revenge stories of like Taken by Liam Neeson. You know, like that. Like it's that sort of revenge story.
It really is. Wilsonator says, I saw it and just left. I'm not mentally prepared to do it. To be honest, Wilsonator, it's easier. If you've done Ogdo Spawn, you can do that. It's easier, trust me.
It is.
There you go. Word from the professional there. Matt Man himself.
Matt Man.
I'll briefly mention it while I'm on it. I'm also thoroughly enjoying the game. Obviously, I don't know the story yet, other than what has just unfolded. But the combat is a lot better. I would agree with that. And I actually love that Cal is like so much more badass now. It's very cool progression without like you seeing what's happened in between. And they're making a third game. Apparently it's supposed to be a trilogy, so don't know what happens at the end. But it is supposed to be a trilogy, I know that. So
would you say, without spoiling, that it kind of leans into that, or would you say it was more like the first game, or is this going to be too much for Will?
It won't be too much for Will, no. I think that it definitely does lean into the idea of having another game.
Right.
okay.
So I would say the first game doesn't. Like, I would say the first game...
I think it's cut and dry. Yeah, it's its own encompassed thing. Whereas I feel like this one less so. I think, if anything, it actively opens for the idea of another game.
A bit more open-ended. I I didn't the other one...
At the end, it shows you that they're going to go on.
Did we say spoilers for the end of the first one?
Yeah, it's been that long now. It's been long enough.
They destroy the Necronomicon. Blast that
because
shit.
they find the thing that shows them, like, the whole mission was to find like all these Jedi.
They were going to find the Jedi and train them, weren't they? And then they were like, actually, they're probably safer without us. And so they just like, do it in.
So it kind of just left it there, didn't it?
And then
they're like,
what
we're
next?
going to be homies forever. And then, psych, they're not homies forever. And that's kind of just the premise of the second game, is they went their separate ways, and Cal carried on fighting the Empire, whereas everyone else just sort of did their own thing.
Right.
That's how it starts.
Mm-hmm.
So not really a spoiler.
Paul Wilson here.
Aidan.
He says, Wilson 8 says, I don't understand. I don't think you understand the skill level that I have. I'm not good. For how much I play games, I hate how bad I am at them. Yeah, I mean, just get good. Like, I can't imagine being cringe at games.
Or do I do? Just lower the difficulty.
Don't lower the difficulty. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't
just do Elden Ring. It'll change your life.
Does Elden
Apparently
Ring
it
have
won't.
difficulties? Or
No. It does weirdly make you better at games, though. Like, after that point.
I don't know. I've watched Will playing it on normal mode. I don't know if it changed that much.
That's true. It did take 2 hours to beat.
It was an hour and a half, and then I did it after free trial.
It was 2.
It was definitely 2. Don't sugarcoat this, Will. It was 100%.
All right, I was tired, okay? Because the next day I did it in 3 tries, so give me a break, all right?
Well, you did take a break, and then you beat him.
I know, I had to go to bed.
there's like science behind that, isn't there? With things like that, where you're struggling at, like if you take a break and then come back to them fresh. The amount of times I've done that with stuff.
Didn't I, Joe? Do you remember when we were playing it on the hardest difficulty? Couldn't do it. We'd literally been on it for like an hour. I was fucking fuming. We came at it the next day, and I literally did it second try without getting hit. Like I went into like fucking flow state. I was like, oh my god. Like Neo from the Matrix has got nothing on the absolute ass whooping that I gave that Dark Elf. I fucked him up.
I feel really bad because whenever Aidan comes around to play video games with me, I just force him to play stuff on the hardest difficulty.
I enjoy it. I like it.
And like, but I think I ruined Uncharted 4 for you though, because every puzzle I was like, oh.
Yeah, but that's you. That's you in a nutshell, Jay. We can't help your personality. Bless you. Like I don't blame you for it, but I do. But like, playing games with Joe is an unusual thing because if he's done it before, within 2 seconds he will laugh at you for not figuring it out.
After we know that Joe is terrible at puzzles, by the way.
Joe may have taken literally hours to figure it out, but the moment he sees you struggle for half a second, he laughs at you. You failed this puzzle. Oh, I think Will just broke it.
That's great content.
It wasn't that, and also the meme, the old meme of going around to your house, a new game comes out, we start playing it, you're like, oh, story bit, give me the controller back.
That was me when I was like 13. That
really wasn't, Joe. It happened when you were like 19, lad. Like that was the last time I think we played something like that. No, don't you fucking...
You liar.
I'm not lying.
What game was it?
Oh, that is a good point. I think it was, hang on.
Resident Evil.
Ghost of Tsushima, I think it was. And it was like in one of the camps, and it was one of the boss fights.
Yeah, but that's fair enough, though, isn't it?
Because sorry, you denied it for a time, and now you're saying that it's okay.
Because, right, you played a game for the first time, you want to experience it yourself. You don't want some other fucker to experience it.
I will happily let my best friend experience it for me, because I live vicariously through him. I'm sorry that your cold, dark heart can't handle that, Joe.
I bought the fucking game.
Oh, you bought it, did you?
I want to experience it. I want to fucking be immersed in it.
This is why nobody wants to play games with you, Joe. This is why we don't play COD with you anymore.
Hang on a minute, isn't most of your Steam library just Aidan's games?
Not anymore. You got
that stopped now, is it?
Well, we can put it back on. But what's that got to fucking do with anything?
Because your argument was that you pay for all your games.
Oh, I wasn't going. I bought it. I'm not playing it because I
did say it. It did say that.
That is exactly
what you just said.
Don't worry, Joe. I didn't hear that part. I didn't mind that part.
I didn't mean it in that way. I meant it in the case that I want. This is my game. I want to experience it.
Did you say it like that?
It's not my game.
In a way.
In a way.
I just want to play a game how I want to play a game.
I just want to play it like me.
Oh my god, Aidan.
Oh my god.
I love Chipotle.
What have you been playing,
what have
Aidan?
you played other than Fallen Order?
Chipotle is my life.
Well, not Fallen Order. What's it called? Survivor. Have we got any more to say on Survivor in general across the board?
Good game. I like the lightsaber thingy. There's a lot of chod in there though, but like that's fine. It's what it's meant to be. It's a very explory game. It's like if Ratchet and Clank had sex with God of War and it was raised by LucasArts. It's probably the best way I can describe it as a game. with a little bit of Souls-like combat in terms of the slightly harder enemies and stuff. Arguably easier enemies in this game.
Hopefully I'll finish it by the next one, and I'll give my full thing as well. Hopefully.
Well, I fully beat the game, as in like just shy of 100%ed it in 36 hours. So that sort of gives you an
yourself
idea.
50.
How am I?
So like that, but that was me collecting everything. Like no stone left unturned.
Ah, yeah, but you didn't get everything though, did you?
Sadly, the game glitched out.
I'm currently on 16 hours.
There you go, you're about halfway through.
20 more hours? Do you reckon you could 100% it in 20 hours?
No way.
No. See, Joe, that's somebody that admits it.
I take a lot longer with games, though. I'm happy to admit that. 2 of those hours for Octobogdo.
They were. They were. Right, so, other than Jedi Survivor that I've been playing, I've also started playing Peasant Simulator. Kingdom Come Deliverance. I'm 20 hours in now. There's a lot of kingdoms, but not once have I had to deliver any ants. It's a good game. No, actually, sorry, that's a lie. It really isn't. It's clunky. It's poorly made. It's terribly voice acted. Like the animations.
What has it scored on Metacritic?
Well, I don't know about Metacritic, but it has positive reviews on Steam, so it's better than most AAA games that have come out recently.
It scores a,
I will say
76.
Okay,
so
or an 8 for user score out of 10.
There you go.
So it's got really good reviews.
It's a cult following. It really is.
Wilson loves it.
Oh, like it's such a meme. I can't help but love it. Like, yeah, that's it. Wilson is like, I don't know why I like it. I don't get it either, but there's something so endearing about Henry and his journey through not dying of dysentery. Like, it's absolutely mad. So,
is it very grounded rather than like you don't feel powerful at any point?
No, because I've like flown up in the air a couple of times and fallen and broke my legs. Like, it's not. Like, I guess it is kind of grounded. Like, if you eat anything that's slightly moldy, there's a chance of you just like getting food poisoning, and that pretty badly cripples Henry for a while. Henry's just a lovable guy, you know. Henry's a lovable guy. If you know how we always.
Henry just goes around threatening to beat everyone up.
No, that's me. I threaten to beat everyone up as Henry. Because I think it's funny that a guy that sounds like all of the peasants from The Witcher would start a fight with like a noble. It's just funny to me. Imagine a gate guy being like, "You got to pay a fee to get in," and he's like, "Get out of my way before I fucking smash your face in." Like, it's fucking hilarious. So I'm playing Henry as a dick. Like, there's so much to it that there are like, you know how I have this weird thing where like I either like a game to just like be stupidly difficult, or like quite in depth in terms of weird mechanics that wouldn't normally matter. That it is like the king of that. So everything's got durability. Like everything slowly wears. All your armor, your clothes, it gets dirty, it gets destroyed. You have to go bathe, otherwise you're more susceptible to like fucking getting injured and shit like that. Like it's so weird. It's such a weird game. There's an alchemy system in the game, and it's like the most in-depth shit you've ever seen in your life. It's like peasant version of rocket science.
Isn't it Sips that likes playing Kingdom Come Deliverance?
Sips loved it. There's that game where he really famously punched that dog, and like he was like screaming about it.
Was that
like,
that game?
He's just stood there, just like punching his dog.
Bailed on Kingdom Come Deliverance. I thought he never.
Well, no, I think he did. I think he did. He stopped playing it after a certain bit. When it lets you break in and steal the best armor and weapons in about an hour, and you know it's a good game, yeah, it does. You can just go wherever, and like it never. There are no real like barriers to what you're doing. The only thing I think that really sets it back in terms of that kind of thing is the save system in the game's terrible. So it auto saves at major points in the main quest. But outside of that, you need a special drink called Savior Snaps. Savior Snaps. Which are like hard saves. Like a hard save in the game. But like, so say you do a main quest, You head all the way up to another place. You do like some little stuff. You head to somewhere else. You do a little bit more. Yeah, there are side stuff, but I'm just saying. Then you head all the way across the mountains. You get ambushed by bandits, and you die. Fuck you! You're all the way back at the beginning. You've lost like 3/4 of an hour of progress. Like it fucks you bad.
It is funny though, because obviously you've had it just streaming in the background all the time, like when you've been on. And I think genuinely, like when I've clicked on the stream to like, I wonder what Aidan's doing on Kindred Deliverance. He's either sneaking into some random guy's house, sleeping in a restricted area, or just beating up some random person in the street. And that is the 3 things I've seen him do, and nothing
I do that
else.
a lot. I do all of those things quite a lot. Wilson is right. The save system changed, but what it changed to was originally there was no autosave. Originally, it was only the save your snaps. It was the only way to save the game.
Whereas now they built.
Now they have it as in like
quest.
Yeah, but like they're so few and far between. They really are. But it's, as I said, it's just weirdly endearing. Like, the story's not awfully compelling at all. It doesn't matter. You're a peasant. You have peasant parents, one of which was a blacksmith. They die right at the beginning of the game. It's not really a spoiler. Like, literally, like, minutes in. You have a sword of a guy who's a nobleman, who your dad made it because he's a blacksmith. You try and give it to him. He fucks off somewhere else. So that way, you go and you try and go bury your parents, but you take the sword with you. The sword gets stolen. And then you've got to go get the sword. The last thing that I did quest-wise was I just was fighting the guy that stole the sword, but he doesn't have it anymore. He gave it to somebody else. And there's mystery and intrigue. But I don't know why, but once I sorted that sort of quest line out, I just sort of sat back and I was like, I don't know if I could be fucked to do any of the rest of this quest. Like, Henry's come far, he's a big boy now. I've punched many of other peasants at this point. I've had peasant sex in peasant barns now. I've drank peasant wine. I've spoke to peasant priests.
You just immerse yourself as a peasant.
I feel poorer. I feel like
did you buy
at any
this
moment.
Game, or did you just have it?
This was a game I bought a long time ago, because originally, back when we were still making content, I wanted to do a game called 4 Idiots, 1 Peasant, where it was just us playing it and you guys telling me what decisions to make while we're just playing the game.
Right, okay.
But obviously I hate you all now, so there's no point doing that. So I started playing it on my own. But yeah, I can safely say no. Don't play it if you don't want to. Play it if you want to. I can't recommend it, but I do love it.
Is there been other... Is it like a sequel to anything? Is there previous games? Is its own thing?
It's the studio that made it have, as far as I'm aware, only made this game. I think.
I thought it was part of the series.
We checked it. They've only made this.
Warhorse Studios is what they call it.
I think it got bought out. The developers who made it got bought out, because when you look on Steam, it seems to make out as if it's part of another collection of games, but they're all made by different studios with no continuity between them.
I've just been reading a few of the Metacritic reviews, and a lot of them just are saying what you're saying, like filled with bugs. It's an awful game, but it's good.
I don't know why I like it. Maybe it's the pickup animation of everything in the game is fucking hilarious. Like, there are just something, like the amount of times I've been in my inventory, I'm overburdened, I drop something, I'm like, oh shit, I didn't mean to drop that. And Henry just looks down, say this is the floor, and he goes, like, that's the game, and it's so fucking good, but it's terrible.
Even at full price now, it's only £25. There's 2,500 people playing it.
I don't get it. It confuses me so much, but I like it. I don't know why I like it. Never have I ever wanted to be a peasant, and yet here I am, a peasant, loving life. Feet in the mud, punching other peasants. It's just great. Not dying of dysentery. Fantastic. There's no thrill that you can get from a modern shooter like not dying of dysentery in a barn. You won't get that in any COD game.
What even is dysentery?
It's where you drink bad water and you shit out your guts and die.
Fair enough. Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, Warhorse Studios have not made anything else other than Kingdom Come Deliverance DLC and Kingdom Come Deliverance.
Look at that. Wilsonated does it. The best way he can describe the game is that weird kid in school with loads of issues, but is just friend with everyone. No one knows why they're friends with them, but they are. Yeah, sure.
That was Joe.
No one was friends with Joe.
You were my friend, you dickhead.
At the end of school, like you had to sort of worm your way in like a parasite. Like dysentery.
Like dysentery.
Actually, Will invited me into your friend group. So
Did
he did.
Cool.
I bring together all things. I'm like the Messiah. I'm like the opposite to Moses.
No, not in this case, though. This group here is all Aidan.
Hello.
That's true.
You may be wondering why I assembled this crack team of people. We're like the Avengers of gaming. Like we've got Tony Stark Denver for having a setup, but just never really being like helping that much. He's just sort of flying around doing his own thing. We've got Joe, the Incredible Sulk, when he plays FIFA and just cries about it.
I do become toxic.
We have Will Davey, Hawkeye, because he's fucking useless. And me, Black Widow, for my dump truck.
That dumpy. He's got
Hang about. Dumpy. I'm not useless. That's fucking uncalled for.
Don't know, lad. I've seen the way you play COD. I've seen it.
Oh, God, fuck COD. Shit game.
Fair. True, big up. Anyway, but that's me. Kingdom Come Deliverance. Can I recommend it? No. Should you play it? Maybe. Do I like it? Yes.
I mean, you've intrigued me. I kind of want to play it now.
Like I could give you the full experience. If you ever watch me play it, it's just me hoping to God that I survive a combat encounter. That's another thing. Sorry, one final thing. The game is very, very clearly made for one-on-one combat. The whole thing is like the For Honor wheel thing where you have to move the sword around and be parrying at the right place. But like there has not been a single combat encounter where I haven't just been thrown out by like 4 enemies at the same time. So Henry is running backwards and these peasants are coming at me like trying to stab me. And I'm just like blocking all the attacks like, fuck!
Can you get like a bow and arrow?
Yeah, there's a bow and arrow. The bow's great. You hit people. Like, if you hit them in the head, they like panic sometimes. They just run away. Like, it's so weird. It's so weird. What a weird fucking game. I like it though. I love it. Yeah, it's my favorite game ever. 10 out of 10.
Brilliant.
Denver, do you want to go?
Pardon me.
Or do you want me
to go? Well.
Okay, I'm going to start off with a smaller one because I started talking about this last time, and that was obviously my continuation of the Lego games, so I might as well briefly mention it. I finished Lego Harry Potter Years 5 to 7.
Woo!
Yeah.
Wow.
So which means the next one will be Lego Batman 2, which I also know Aidan has yet to play.
Not Beyond Gotham. That's just Lego Batman 2.
Beyond Good and Evil.
No,
which apparently it's really good.
I remember liking it when I was younger.
That's the next one on the list. In terms of 5 to 7, it's just a upgrade in most things that were in Years 1 to 4. It looks slightly better. I would argue the maps and exploration is a lot easier. In the first one, it was fucking so difficult to know where the fuck you were going all the time. Like, it was just painful. Whereas this one was a lot easier. It's quite cool that you unlock the characters by, like, collecting them in missions rather than just in the open world. Like, you have to get the 4 crests, so like Gryffindor, Slytherin, that kind of thing, and then you can get 3 characters in each level, and then 1 as a student in peril in every single level. But so it's quite cool because I don't think I can't remember that it might have been in other Lego games, but I can't remember where you unlocked characters through getting them. Like, you don't just get them by being the character. Like, I think you play as Dobby in one, and you can't get him until you get his token. But
Stop it.
I won't say much more because it's. I think we spoke about it briefly last time, but it was just obviously it's just fun. It's good. Thoroughly enjoyed it. 100%ed it again. 100%ed them all so far, and it's still not trophies on Steam yet. I'm hoping Batman might be. So I've just been 100%ing them for my own satisfaction. Literally. But the other game that I've finished is actually Portal 1.
Oh, you kept that a saucy secret.
Yeah, I thought... well, this is it, right? I've played Portal 2 with you a tiny bit, Aidan. But obviously you knew how to do everything. So it was kind of just like me following you and then me trying to figure it out, but then you kind of like giving me hints or just showing me how to do it kind of thing. So I was like, right,
Can we just throw this out there, right? I'm a way better teacher in terms of this stuff than Joe is. Joe will laugh at you and then tell you the answer. I at least try and let him work stuff out.
What was that big for?
Because I just don't want to be roped in the same boat as you. Like, we're not the same when it comes to this.
No one was accusing you of being in the same boat as me.
The fact of the matter is, Joe, that we spoke about this literally earlier, and like I was saying, you do this, and Will's just said the same thing about me. I just wanted to clear the air. I wanted to make it clear that you fucking suck, and I do not. Sorry, that was very rude. I apologize.
Okay.
But I'm not wrong.
I was pleasantly just like surprised how much I fucking loved this game. It is so unbelievably satisfying when you get a puzzle right. Like you just feel clever, even though it's not like ever really that hard. Like it's a bit challenging, but like it just makes you feel clever, even though it's not that difficult. Even like, so I played it on the Steam Deck because when I flew on holiday, I was like, I want to play something on the thing, and I literally just smashed out like 3/4 of it flying there. I didn't play it on the way back, and then I just finished it when I got home, kind of thing. Because it's not a very long game, and the story is just, as far as I'm working out, obviously 4 has a lot more like voice actors in it, and a lot more story to it, because I have briefly started Portal 2, but so I could be talking out my ass. But the first one's kind of just the bad person, who I can't remember their name, Aidan. GLaDOS speaking to you, and then you just kind of unravel the story yourself that they're going to kill you, and then you try and escape, and then you do escape, and then whatever. It's just unbelievably satisfying, and even like it's so smooth. Like, for such an old game on the Steam Deck, it felt unbelievably nice to play. Like,
that's great.
And I didn't know how it would be on the Steam Deck, but it's literally like Valve are just so good at like optimizing their games, aren't they? Like, it just
I say that, but fucking Half-Life 2 was horrendous on the Steam Deck.
Was it actually?
Yeah.
Well, Portal 1 wasn't. It was really good, and it felt smooth. And I thought it might feel weird on the Steam Deck, but it felt perfect, and it was just genuinely super fun to play. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed it. For such like a small game as well, like, and I feel like the story, obviously, it's not anything huge. I feel like it's more kind of the background world that's going on is quite interesting with Portal, but obviously you don't really get to see much of that. It's kind of just your own situation. And it just briefly talks about stuff, and obviously you can go in little side rooms, and it tells you, like, there's warnings of obviously like people who've tried to do the same thing as you, and like
there's
saying,
definitely like more than meets the eye kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Like
it very much hints at there's more going on than what you're seeing like in front of you.
Exactly, like, because the whole thing, obviously there's a talk about if you get to the end, you get a cake or whatever, and then all over it there's like the cake is a lie, and like when you just see it written on the walls, and there's just all these things. But it's just really good. Like, I was just shocked at how much I enjoyed it. I just thought it was just going to be, because everyone's played it, right? Am I right in saying you've all played it and done it?
I've played a bit of it. Yeah, I've played a bit of Portal, but never finished them.
but it's really good. And I did start Portal 2, and obviously there's a big like graphics upgrade, but also, like I was saying about the voice actors and stuff, there's the character at the start, Wheatley, and it's fucking not Ian Stern, the guy who does a lot with Ricky Gervais, who's got like the proper Gloucester accent. No, he's got a Gloucester accent. Stephen Merchant. He voices, the tall guy. He voices the fucking.
Is Stephen Merchant also fucking what's his name from Assassin's Creed? Sean. Is he also him?
I don't know.
Do they just sound similar?
I think they sound similar.
When did that? Yeah.
Just someone give us a rundown.
Well, while you're searching for that, by the way, the Lord of the Rings Gollum came out today. Today's the 25th of May. Not looking good.
Yeah, the reviews are terrible.
I can't believe anybody even looked at that game and thought, wow, this is going to be great. I want to play as a reclusive outcast. Like, what? No.
Aidan, you're playing Kingdom Come Deliverance.
I'm a peasant. That's different.
It's very different.
It's very different, Joe. Come on.
But yeah, I started it and I was like, I'm sure that's fucking Stephen Merchant. I instantly recognized it because it's such like a deep Gloucester accent. And I was like, oh my god. And it is. It's fucking Stephen Merchant.
No, someone else.
I remember hearing a thing about it where like a little girl got annoyed because she was playing it with her foster parents or something. There's a bit later on in 2 where Wheatley calls you like fatty little adopted fatty or some shit like that, and like this girl started crying because she was adopted, and the guy was like, fat? I don't know if she was fat, but she was definitely adopted. Like, it's a story. It got turned into a meme a while back, so like people liked it.
I didn't realize that Sean is in the game so much.
Well, like Sean is he's in like fucking all of them.
I've never played past Revelations, and now I only see that he's in 3, Black Flag, Syndicate, and Valhalla.
He's in all of them, yeah. I was going to say, like, fucking hell. There's only like 1 he didn't make an appearance in.
What else? Yeah, so I started Portal 2. But yeah, Portal 1 was just great, and I thoroughly recommend it, and I was very surprised at how much I enjoyed it. That's other than that, it's basically I finished Lego Harry Potter. I finished Portal because both like I'd done most of Lego Harry Potter last month, but I just didn't get around to finishing it, and I literally finished it today actually, so it was quite handy. And then Portal done, but I've just started a bit of a weird indie game on my Steam Deck called Hyperlight Drifter. Very strange, but actually really like the pixel art is so cool, and the combat's actually really satisfying. Not really played anything like it before, and I just thought, you know what, it might be quite fun to play on Steam Deck, and it's supposed to be quite a short game, and I thought I'll give it a go. And I think there's a second one coming out, but I'll give an actual proper thing on the next. But I'm also playing Star Wars obviously now, so it might be a mixture too. See what we can do. But that's what I've been playing. So
I'm excited for you to finish Star Wars. Well, we've got a lot to discuss.
I know. Hopefully, I'll get it done this month, but we shall see. We shall see. Denver.
How many days left now?
No, I mean as in like for the next podcast
next
kind of thing.
Got you.
What do you think it's going to finish it
in 5 days?
Well, I didn't know. You might have just fucking a powwow.
Powwow.
Don't you call me that?
Maybe.
Don't you ever call me by my real name again?
So I have finally beat Hades.
You beat it. Nice.
Whoa.
And it's fantastic. It very much does. The actual underlying story is kind of meh, but the fucking helicopter. Can you hear that?
Someone's lost on Snowden again.
Oh,
No.
That's like a helicopter.
That's rough.
It's a callback.
Game, with it being a roguelike, the game very much, it kind of just eventually ends after you beat it so many times. But you can still keep going, and like the level of depth, because there are like 6 different weapons, but the weapons can have different like affixes, which changes what their underlying abilities do, and there's 4 of them for each weapon. So in terms of like completing the game with each weapon, there's, I don't know the maths, 6 times 4 is 24. So there's like 24 different weapons in the game, essentially.
Yep.
But then there's all the different like abilities that you get from different gods when you go through that change how you play. And then there's the different, like when you beat the game with one weapon type, that like with a certain weapon, it's like, well, if you want to beat the game, you can beat the game again if you want with the same weapon, but you won't get any more rewards.
Right.
So you have to you have to add modifiers to make the game harder to still get rewards. You can do that up to like 40 levels, something ridiculous. So there's so much replayability, even though I've beat the game now. But I kind of got to the point where I was spending all my free time that I had to play on my Steam Deck just playing Hades. So I have sort of stopped playing it now just to play other things.
You're going to play Hades 2 when it comes out?
Oh, definitely. Like, fucking, I cannot recommend that game enough. It is just a fantastic game. Like, it's so well made for what it is. It doesn't stretch anything past what it can't do. The fact that every time you speak to a character, I have never heard the same dialogue repeated once.
That's
Not
good.
Once. Every time you speak to them. Bear in mind, so I've finished the game now, and I have had 66 runs. So that's 66 attempts where you've tried.
That's a lot of attempts.
Yeah, but it's the majority of them are at the start of the game, aren't they? Like,
yeah, like don't get me wrong, I'm not very good at the game. I don't know how much the average person would take, but it took me 44 tries to beat it the first time, and then it's only taken another 22 from beating it when I mean beating it, I mean completing a run.
Yeah.
To then that was on attempt number 44, and then attempt number 66 was when again the story was over, like the main story. But there's still there's like a thing where you can see all the characters, like I know I've spoken about this before, like a catalog almost of all the characters and how many times you can see next to it if you still have more dialogue to speak with that character, or it'll be like, you have to improve your relationship with this character to get more dialogue out of them. So then you have to like gift them things to get more dialogue out of them. And
do they give you better things? Because I never got that deep into the game to know if you improve relationship.
Not from improving relationships, no.
Okay.
But you can increase the chance of getting better things by having like modifiers on. Also, like if you have 2 certain skills from 2 different people, they can then combine. If you meet one of them same gods again, they may offer you what they call like a duo power, where it combines those 2 powers. So, for example, there's this
power of cheese.
There's one I've forgotten the name, but they're like the god of wine.
Oh, Dionysus.
Their whole, like, a lot of their abilities inflict hangover, which hangover is like bleed, essentially.
Yeah.
And that in combination with the goddess of hunting,
Artemis.
If you also have Artemis skills, all her skills improve crit damage. A lot of theirs. But then if you have skills from either one and then meet one of them again, they may offer you a duo skill, which is when an enemy is inflicted with hangover, they take like 10% extra crit chance while hungover, kind of thing. So it's like all these intertwining abilities. It's just a fantastic game.
It's like such an in-depth game for like an indie studio,
like a little pixel.
Oh, there's unbelievable amount of, like, don't get me wrong, I've like almost seen all the skills of all the people now, but like the way in which they combine is so many, and then that in junction with the different weapons and the different like modifiers they can have. Like I tried to beat the game with like a spear, and I unlocked a version of the spear which is where like you had like 70% less health, and anytime you got a health buff, it only did half as much. So basically you can get barely any healing, but the spear itself has like a vampire ability where when you hit enemies with it,
a classic. A classic.
So, like, I got to the final boss with that, but then on the final boss, it was like near fucking impossible because the boss can like hit you for nearly all your health, and you're like, and then the lifesteal is really hard to get because it's not just when you hit you get the lifesteal; it's when you charge up this certain ability and deploy it, and that hits is what does the lifesteal. But you're on like the final boss, and you're like, right, I need to lifesteal. Standing there for a minute, and then he just goes BAM, and you're just dead, and it's like it's done.
I don't want to like hard derail your review, Deborah, but obviously you're saying how Hades is so well made and stuff like that. It's a small indie studio. Do you think just like indie games are kind of where it's at moving forward? Because AAA is in such a shit state at the moment.
Really,
with like games coming out and like barely working, barely functional, microtransactions through the fucking roof, kind of thing.
A lot of indies have the advantage of early access.
Maybe I don't know. I feel like that's less and less.
Not doing.
That's less and less.
I mean, Hades, for example, was early access for ages.
It was, but then like games like Spiritfarer and stuff weren't.
No,
like the Return of Obra Dinn. Like, that's one of the most fucking thingy games ever.
You still need those big games for other like things. Like I wouldn't.
I'm just saying that how fucked. Like I'm looking past how fucked games have been recently in their release, in their ports, like in anything like that. Like even fucking Jedi Survivor, a game made by like EA and Respawn. Yeah, EA, you know, for being shady and shit like that, and FIFA's absolute wank. But like, at least the last Jedi Fallen Order game came out working.
Mm-hmm.
Even if barely, it still came out. But then, like Survivor came out completely fucked on PC.
But you got to remember there was a lot of shit about Fallen Order when it first came out because of how many bugs are in it. Like, it was
just a buggy game, but people knew that it was brought out as a cash grab to thingy onto the Star Wars movie that had just been released.
Yeah,
like very much so. Early, but you know what else was a massive cash grab? The Mad Max video game that come out like just after the Fury Road. That game was fucking great.
Yeah,
like yeah, it's an interesting one when, especially in recent times, the best rated games have just been when an older game has been remade.
Mm.
Even then, the ports have sometimes been horrible, like with Last of Us.
Mm-hmm. Companies must be really struggling with PC ports these days because 9 out of 10 of them are coming out broken.
I just don't
like
see how
there must be something that's like they're struggling with because it's all the companies. Even Naughty Dog.
This isn't a fucking renewable model. It can't be. Like, this is fucked. Like, half of them are coming out and getting review bombed. Like, instantly.
I think a big part of it is the fact that the newer consoles have essentially the equivalent of like 16 gigabyte VRAM graphics cards, which is more than most people are rocking in their PCs. So when these newer games come out that can work on PlayStations, that they can't work on a lot of PCs because the game is defaultly using so much that your graphics card is just capping out.
And it's crazy, really, isn't it? I think, I think my 4070 has only like 12 gigs. So
4070.
My 4070.
That's going to be old in a few years.
Yeah, literally. So, I mean, it's fucking crazy how expensive you have to a good PC is for a game to still be broken on them. You know,
that's when like consoles are they're so affordable because they sell every console at a loss because they're like, well, how many average games do we sell on top of this console?
Yeah.
Whereas when you buy a graphics card, they have to make the money all on the graphics card. There's no like.
I wasn't talking about the money. Just in
general. I know. I'm just saying and.
Like, you know, I just don't know what the state is really, like how they're bringing out these games. A lot of these games are just hashed out games in terms of like they're easy, like the very few features that like fucking like Forspoken and stuff like that. Like they're coming out and they're just fucking they don't work. They're also kind of shit, and like people are playing them and then they're instantly review bombing them because they're like, oh, this was part of a franchise that I really loved and now it's like dog shit or whatever. Or it's from a company that I thought that I trust. Like, nobody's safe. Rockstar bought out those free definitive versions of GTA 3, Vice City and San Andreas, and they were like the worst fucking thing ever because it was just a quick cash grab kind of thing. And like There's a really good video on it at the moment by a guy on YouTube called Bricky. Not trying to drag any fucking all 7 viewers away from us kind of thing. But like, if you get a chance to watch it, definitely watch it. Because it's really interesting. He talks about like the state of AAA at the moment and like what's going on. I can't explain it very well because I'm a fucking idiot and all my brain cells have been killed.
I don't know. It was like...
game. Sorry, Joe, I wasn't finished. Keep going, please. No, go on, Joe. Go on.
I think this definitely applies to games that are across multiple consoles. I feel like, say, like the biggest like PlayStation exclusive, for example. I don't really know Xbox exclusives. I feel like they've been good.
The Xbox exclusive was like Halo Infinite, one of the worst reviewed games that came out of the other year.
Because
like no features and it was just dog shit and it wasn't supported.
I feel like a big part of it is also the fact that the big, somewhat reliable studios who make games seem to take so much longer that they're taking like 6 years to make a game. Like, say, God of War. Although, what was that, 4 years? That's not that bad, really, is it?
Yeah, that's because they already had the engine, isn't it? Like, the first game took so long because they had to make the engine and a new engine and everything. But like, what I was going to say earlier is that obviously it was the PlayStation Showcase last night. And from what I gathered, we've got to a state now where we've got like 1 or 2 good AAA titles to look forward to. About 1,000 Weeb games to look at, and about 100 PS2 era looking games with the occasional good indie game.
I was going to say, I would say PS2 era. You forget how bad PS2 looks.
Yeah, but like some games are like looking like that though, like just at 60 FPS now. Like, and you look at these games, you think, who the fuck are buying? Who's buying?
That's one thing I never get when I see those showcases. Like, it's literally that.
So much
who's buying these games?
Yeah, like, who's buying?
It must be enough.
Who's the target audience?
It's all like profit. It's all a profit thing. Like some of those games on the showcase might have only cost like 200 grand to make, so they only have to sell like a few thousand copies, and it's.
But what I mean is this a conspiracy? Because like half the time you never even see those fuckers on the shelf.
You never see them again.
I'm just saying.
On the shelf, though, have you seen Alan Wake 2 will be digital only. 0 physical copies will be made.
Whoa.
Okay, it was more of a figure of speech, but all right. Like, fair enough.
I feel like that's the way it's going there. Like, I haven't been bought a physical copy of a game in ages.
Literally, I can't remember the last time I did.
Because apparently they want to keep costs down, so they're only making digital versions.
Surely it's less plastic as well, right? Save the world.
Save the turtles.
Shouldn't digital games cost less because they don't have to manufacture and then
they should, but they cost more.
They shouldn't, like, it doesn't, I don't know. I mean, like, and that was another thing said in that video. I don't want to keep ripping shit from that video, but one of the things is, like, he goes on about how, like, games have always, from when we were younger, they were, like, 50, 60 quid or whatever, all the way up to now. And now they've been bumped up to, like, 70, 80, 90, and we're all like, oh, outrageous. But, like, realistically, they should probably cost that, if not more. Like, because of the actual manpower and time that it takes to, like, make these things, as well as, like, distribution and stuff like that. It's like we're lucky that it hasn't been this way for years, especially the way that things are going right now.
It's always one of them, like, I guess with video games, it's always been how much are people willing to pay?
How much are you willing to pay? Say a game that you've always wanted for your entire life comes out tomorrow. Say it's like for Denver, it'd be like fucking, I don't know, like Diablo 7, more Diabloing. For Will, it'd be like a Star Wars game that you can go anywhere, do anything, make your own character.
What Ubisoft are doing.
Darth Wankius the Third comes out. Joe, it'd just be Last of Us Factions. And for me, it'd be like Red Dead 7, Return of the Dead, Red
Dead 2, Undead Nightmare.
I'd love that, to be fair. Or Red Dead Revolver remake. Point being, how much would you realistically be willing to pay for that? If a studio turned around and they said to your specific game that I've just mentioned, then they're like, it's 120 quid. Would you pay that? You don't get any digital deluxe. You don't get any, like, physical things. You just get the game. Would you pay it? Would you pay 120 quid for the game that you want to play?
What a perfect game would be.
Well,
I mean, this way though,
Dead Space 2, but 17 hours longer.
I tell you what is pretty close to that though.
Go on.
When you say Diablo 4's coming out, and I have paid for the £90 version of the game.
Do you feel like that's a stretch? Do you feel like that's what you wanted to pay? What have you got extra from this over the, I guess, the £70 version?
Because, well, you get like the first season Game Pass, so it's going to be a live service game. So it's 60 quid off the back of the base version.
Blizzard.
And then every 3 months, there will be a season pass of whatever price, probably like 10, 15 quid.
In a game where you fight demons.
So
in a top-down perspective, what are you going to get? Like fucking
the game's going to have like a £60 a year service cost, essentially, if you wanted to get everything.
What are they going to do? Your necromancer hits the gritty on them after you kill them with the emote menu. Like, what the fuck is this?
It's all supposed to be cosmetics only is in the Battle Pass.
What the fuck's happening?
It's all just like cosmetics and like mount stuff and whatever. But essentially, what I'm getting at was, well, the reason I'm buying the Nightwood version was purely because you get 4-day early access, which how it lines up with my shifts. If I didn't get that early access, the game would launch just when I start my block of shifts.
Okay, so let's say you're paying an extra 20 quid to get it to be able to play it for longer, essentially, the moment it comes out.
If it wasn't for that, I don't think I would get it.
No?
No, I'm not
but
pre-order bonus stuff.
But just Diablo in general, if it was 90 quid and you had to pay up to 110 or whatever to do what you're doing now, would that be too much? I'm just trying to gauge this.
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it?
How much are we willing to pay? I guess we don't know until it happens.
Until you're forced into it.
Yeah.
Because then on the flip side of gaming, right, you've got that really expensive. Then you've got things like PlayStation Plus now, which are like insane value. Like for like £80 a year, you get like 300 something games.
You can never play that many kind of thing, and it really is like so good. I kind of wish it was around when we were younger. Wilson it says the most I've ever paid was £90. He's done it 2 times, and one of them was the biggest disappointment you've ever had with a game. What game was that? Just out of curiosity, was it also Elder Scrolls Online? Because I remember when we did that, and we fucked it.
I was so mad. It's supposed to be good now, though.
Yeah. I nearly bought the £300 version of Marvel's Avengers game.
What did that come with? Fucking Robert Downey Jr.'s cum song.
It came with a statue of Captain America.
That's quite cool.
And I was nearly going to buy 2 of them.
Oh no, Wilson bought Anthem.
Anthem, oh shit. Anthem.
Oh God.
I forgot about that game.
Anthem.
I want to fly around
Anthem
and be Iron
cool
Man.
though.
It did look cool. Like I think it was the whole selling of fly like Iron Man.
Yeah,
shit.
It was just the charade of there was nothing to the game past that point.
Yeah. To me, it was like, it's kind of like Dead Space suits.
Yeah, like you get into your big sort of and
the world itself looked really cool.
About the getting in the suit and it was all like rubbery and on the inside, you know, like I don't know, like. And guess what I'm trying to say is I want to be put inside a giant latex glove.
Right, I'm going to interject because I'm well aware that this is an hour 28 minutes long now, and we've got a question. So the quick question I'm going to ask is,
finished early games, but it's fine.
Oh, have you finished? Oh, fuck me, we're an hour and a half. Go, Denver.
It's okay. The other game I played was Resident Evil 2. It's good.
It is very good.
Sorry, I honestly, it's been going that long. I forgot you were still talking about your games. Fuck.
It's because we got sidetracked.
That was my bad. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, it's your fault.
Hades, great game. Resident Evil 2, great game.
My bad.
You finished it.
I would buy Resi 2 when on sale. Although I guess you get a lot of value.
Have you finished it? Okay.
I finished. I've not finished all the extras. I don't know whether I'm going to do all the extras.
Are you going to do Resi 3?
Yes,
He's already got it.
Next.
And then Resi 4.
Resi 4.
I'm excited for the day that one of us plays that because I want to play it.
It's mine and Holly's next game on the list.
Oh, it's going to be so sick.
Sorry,
the
your
other,
question.
and also the other game was Destiny 2. Apparently, the Wilson it spent 90 quid on. which is I mean, there's a lot of content.
It's obviously after a
game.
theme there because Anthem was supposed to be the next Destiny, but instead then he just bought Destiny 2.
Destiny, the big looty shooty.
I've still never really played Destiny like at all.
Don't get the appeal personally. It's just Halo.
It seems to have a very cool.
I love Halo, so I don't know. I've never played it.
It's a dedicated fan base. People love it, like Destiny players.
Quite grindy, isn't it, as well? Though.
Yeah,
that's what put me off.
Anyway, right, sorry, go on.
For a start, everyone's watched the PlayStation Showcase, right?
Yeah.
It's mainly just like, what did you think? Anything that made you hyped? What?
Spider-Man 2 looks amazing.
No, come on, Joe. What about the Ghost Blade?
That Phantom Blade Zero.
That was it.
Is that the super fast combat thing? That looks fucking awesome, didn't it?
Fucking incredible.
What a shock that was.
Game they showed, and I was like, that combat looks insanely good. So I'll be interested to keep my eye on that.
Yeah.
I want to see in-game UI combat.
Yeah, this is what I mean. You don't know how much of that was like scripted trailers,
or how much of it looks like press one button and it does the whole animation kind of thing.
Like an icon appears, like a circle icon appears above an enemy. You just press it and then he just jumps over and does it.
Yeah. But even if it is just that, it still looks incredible. Like,
it looks like fast-paced Dark Souls.
Yeah. And I really like the look of that.
I'd say it was the biggest shock of the thing. Like, I was just like, where did this come from? This looks fucking awesome.
The disappointment of factions not being Last of Us factions not being there is insane. Denver called it, and I'm really upset more because Denver was right than anything else.
It's a hard pill to swallow.
It is a very hard pill to swallow. But
later in the year, that's what Druckmann said.
I am shocked that they didn't show it, if I'm honest. Assassin's Creed Mirage. A chef's kiss.
It just looks like Origins, like aesthetic.
I hope to God it's as good as it looks. Because fuck me, the happiness that I was like, oh my God, they're listening. Yeah. But haven't Ubisoft now they've ditched, because obviously they was in a pretty shit place in the last was it the end of last year?
Sorry. Did they
they've ditched all loads of people, and then the people they've got left just put all onto the Assassin's Creed, because they were making 20 games at once, and now they've just dumbed it down to putting more effort into the big games that they're making. So I've heard Assassin's Creed now has loads of different developers that were working on these other games been thrown into it now. So I'm fucking hoping they're going back to the old ways. Not that I've played the newer ones, other than a slight bit of Valhalla.
They did say that they're taking it back to the roots. So I think it'll be more like a unit, like Assassin's Creed Unity and Syndicate and all that lot.
Parkour looked so
I really like the RPG elements.
A lot of people did. A lot of people really did genuinely like a lot of people liked Origins. Odyssey was a bit of a hit and miss one for people, just mainly because it's like a 70-hour game or whatever.
And Valhalla
and then they didn't learn the lesson and did the same with Valhalla. But how can you make it interesting? I know, let's put it in England. Once again, with a load of mud huts and peasants. It all ties back, guys.
It's Vikings, though. People want Vikings, and there's just not many games with Vikings.
I think it's the issue of it's just not been about the Assassins for a long time. Origins, I guess, but not to the very, very, very end.
They should have almost just made a separate game and not called it an Assassin's Creed. Made it
they should have made it a new
Viking Killers.
Bouncy, jumpy, parkoury Viking Man 7.
What did people think of Pirates of the Caribbean?
Oh, you fucker! I was going to make a joke about that. I was genuinely going to be like, look, we're all missing the point. Cat's Quest.
What was that? It was just out of nowhere.
Adverts for mobile games where it's a fake mobile game.
It literally looked like that, didn't it?
Like underneath it playing as well for some reason.
I had to mention it because I was like, what the fuck is this?
It was my most anticipated
I almost want to play it. No, my main hype was literally just Spiderman looked fucking amazing. And oh my God, I'm so excited for that now. more than I thought it was going to be.
Angry Spider-Man.
Oh, so hyped. And that whole scene was just so good. Like, I can't wait. I can't wait. But that, and the one you said, Joe, I can't remember the fucking name of it. Assassin's Creed looked amazing. And then I've not played Metal Gear at all, but like obviously loads of people were hyped about that because it was.
And everyone's of course excited for Final Fantasy like 16, aren't they? Right, guys?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it comes out in like a week, is it?
Oh, I'll be pre-ordering them.
I think also, and it's maybe I've never played Alan Wake, and Alan Wake 2 looked pretty good. So I think I might go back and play the original.
Evil, isn't it?
I've never played it either.
From the short clips on it, though, that looks nothing like Alan Wake 1.
Don't you play as whoever that woman was, though, by the looks of it?
That police officer, it looks like it.
I like the idea that
the gameplay was her.
Allie Blake, so it's like Alan Wake and Allie Blake in Quantum Break with Big Snake.
Is that her actual name?
No.
Doesn't he just look like John Wick though? Is the game just John Wick?
Yeah, we did all go. I was watching it, and we all went Keanu.
The original is nothing like.
No.
You have like a light which damages enemies.
Yeah, burns them, and then you can shoot them.
Yeah, it's a proper like horror game.
So I don't know how they're going to go with this one. Probably down the Resident Evil route. And I'm not a very big VR guy, but a lot of VR stuff was said. So,
Aidan, can you play the Spider-Man game so you could be hyped too? Because I think you'd be pleasantly surprised.
He tried, didn't he?
Please just finish, especially Miles Morales. It's so good.
He played it at my house.
The biggest disappointment about that whole showcase to me was that a fucking new Spider-Man was coming. So when they said it was the last game, I'm like, fuck's sake, there's like been nothing else.
Yeah.
Because no offense to Spider-Man. Well, it's not even an offense, but like we knew what it was going to be. Like the gameplay was just exactly as I would have expected it to be. If it wasn't that, I would have been disappointed. So seeing it, I'm just like, yeah, that looks good. That's exactly what I'd expect.
I was going to buy it anyway.
Yeah, the story kind of hints that it's going to be a bit more in depth than the previous one. And then obviously like with switching between Miles and Peter, it's like, cool, awesome. That's exactly what I expected.
I was literally, we were all watching it, and I literally went, I bet they're going to do a switch to Miles. And then literally 2 seconds later, they did. And I was like, yeah, I just expected that. That was what it was always going to be.
We didn't know the Spider-Man having the Venom shit, though.
I mean, the logo is literally the Spider-Man. Like, the logo for the game on all the pre-order sites has just been the black.
It is, but it showed Venom in a trailer, so it could have just been like, you know.
I remember doing that early on, and then it like latches onto him or something.
I wonder.
Maybe.
But is he going to do the Tobey Maguire thing?
Is he ever going to find a Spider Drive?
I bet they will. They did the train thing, didn't they?
Yeah, there'll probably be a little Easter egg.
But like, yeah, the fact that there was like nothing else solid like gameplay of anything. There was no real gameplay of any game apart from Spider-Man. So the fact they made this massive like deal of like, PlayStation Showcase and all this hype out games, and the only real game they showed was a game that is kind of still the same as the old one. Like, it's not like Spider-Man is now like a Souls-like game. Like, it was exactly as you expected, just an innovation on the last game.
The map's
so I
a lot
thought
bigger.
Really, everything was just fucking disappointing. And the more I think about it, the angrier it makes about that showcase.
I mean, honestly, I quite enjoyed it. I thought it was quite good. Other than all the weeb shit. No offense.
So much chud.
No offense.
But there's always going to be chud in those showcases.
Not a fan of the weeb games, personally.
I feel like they needed at least like... I feel like they needed at least like 1 or 2 more AAA games in there that were going to blow minds away, or at least
you don't know. Like, some of them might have been AAA, but because we never saw a game
of it or
anything, there was like, it's like a speculative.
Like, a lot of the trailers were just like, what? Like, what
annoys me is one that just showed some plants on a ship.
Yeah, that. Like, fair enough if you're going to tease something. Like, if you're going to do a little trailer teaser like that. Fair enough if it's something that people are already aware of and you know that are going to get hyped just by a title screen type of thing. Like, you know, when they did The Last of Us 2
Wolverine when they did
and it was a little teaser, and everyone just got hyped because they knew it was Last of Us or Wolverine. Just a shot of Wolverine. People are going to get hyped. But when you don't know what the brand is or what they're going to do, there's no point in making a teaser because no one gives a fuck.
Yeah,
you're not going to get me hyped. I have no idea what this is.
We have no idea what it could be. A real-time strategy game for all we know.
Yeah. Like,
I'll be honest, lads, you've just pissed off all 2 of the major Concord Life fans.
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry.
They're big into it, you know.
Anything?
Sorry, go on.
Anything?
It makes me hope that are they going to then do like what they've done previously? So like, is Wolverine going to be on its own state of play? Is Last of Us Factions going to be on its own state of play? So rather than part of this hour-long thing where they've fitted 30 odd games,
they're just going to focus on a couple of like really good ones.
Like so maybe like the problem is we've just looked into the showcase wrong, thinking, oh, they're going to announce all these big games, and actually they've just used it as an excuse to, here, we're going to rattle off a load of games you haven't heard about yet, and then with 10 minutes of Spider-Man, because usually in a state of play, you'll get like 10 minutes of other stuff, and then 10 minutes of a big showcase of something at the end.
Yeah.
And we kind of just got that, but mega. Like, we just got like a shitload of games. It's like they showed like the fucking Gran Turismo film, but we already had a trailer for that. We already knew that was coming.
I had no idea.
And then the fucking terrible handheld streaming thing.
Yeah, and that's not even going to be like a thing where you download games. It's just streaming it from your PlayStation.
I was saying this to him before. You can literally do that already on your phone.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense at all.
I don't get it.
I like the accessibility control is quite cool. Not that it means anything to us, but you know. I think it's cool.
Sometimes I can't be bothered to play games with my hands.
Are you anything you was hyped about, Aidan?
Yeah, Cat's Quest. Pirates of the Caribbean.
That looks so shit.
No, to be honest, I couldn't really care about any of them. Maybe the remake of Metal Gear Solid 3, because I played it a long, long time ago, but like, you know.
Yeah, I do like
I'm not a diehard fan of the series. I've played a couple of them. I tried playing Metal Gear Solid like 4 or whatever, Guns of Patriots, and it starts with a 40-minute cutscene. It's just like unskippable 40-minute cutscene. Fuck off, Hideo Kojima. Like, fuck off. I'm not dealing with you right now, Hideo Kojima. And he's like, very sorry. And I'm like, no, I'm not having that.
Right.
That's it. One end. Oh, God, we're all tired.
We're all tired. It's a long one. Fucking long to edit. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for watching.
None of us said anything racist. You don't have to edit it. Until now. I'm going to do it.
Thank you, anyone who watched. Thank you, Wilsonator, as always. Been a pleasure, lad.
Thank me. And me.
Sorry we didn't answer as much. We got in a bit of a tangent. Good. We're back.
Wow. Don't make promises you can't keep that.
There'll be an album review as soon as Joe's back, I'd imagine. Other than that, there might be some next week. Games, who knows? Right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye.
Fuck you.